Welcome to Taverna Friuli podcast, the definitive podcast on the wines of Friuli Venezia Giulia. I'm your host, Wayne Young. Join me here each week for casual conversations with wine people and other characters from the undiscovered region of Friuli Venezia Giulia in northeastern Italy. Welcome back, Friuli wine friends, to La Taverna Friuli Wine. I am your host, Wayne Young. Welcome back for the second part of this conversation with Fares Issa, Syrian chef from Ronchi Rò in Dolenja del Collio. We'll talk a little bit about the restaurant, a little bit about wine in this part. We talk about how to taste wine, how not to taste wine, how to pair wine with food, and how not to pair wine with food. But I wanted to also talk about something that I did last week or 2 weeks ago, which was the World Pignolo Day. Hopefully that will be our next episode here in Italian, thanks to Ben Little. And I will be publishing an episode of mini interviews, little quick snippets in Italian that I took during that wonderful event. I was really happy to be involved in that, so thanks to Ben Little. I know you're a listener. Thank you, Ben, for including La Taverna in World Pignolo Day. Hope to be there next year as well. But I don't want to leave you hanging. I know everybody wants to get into the second part of this conversation with Fares Issa from Ronchi Rò in Dolenja del Collio. So how would you define the food that you make there? If you had to describe your food.
Very lunatic.
Lunatic.
Yeah. Because
not lunatic as in lunatic in English, which means crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, you would say crazy.
Lunatic, yeah, absolutely.
Like, okay.
Like
pazzo.
There is no sense.
Love it.
Like, because you can take now, in the restaurant there is the tasting menu.
Mm.
There is an order. There is you start with this, you move to this, or move to that. I don't like it. I absolutely don't like it in my restaurant.
Too rigid.
No, absolutely. When you go, you wake up in the morning, you have to work. You have to do 200 things a day. When you get to the restaurant, you have to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to enjoy what you want to drink and what you want to eat. Mixing, switching. A friend of mine said, okay, I will never serve a Fiorentina well done.
Okay.
I understand it because it's very tough. But if you want to eat the meat well done, I will give you the meat well done. I will tell you it's not the perfection. I will tell you it will be too, hard to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It will be gummy.
Yes.
It will look
difficult to chew.
And that's my job to tell you. But if you want it this way, I will give it this way.
Okay.
So in the menu, there are no order at all. We have only one rule, that there are no rules.
Okay.
Okay, so
antipasti,
like primi, secondi, they're all mixed up.
Okay.
Okay, because the idea is, okay, I don't know what to drink. Maybe I know what to eat. And from the food, we reach the wine we like.
Mm-hmm.
Or I know exactly what I want to drink. Let's find something that goes well with it.
Okay.
And completely free.
All right.
So it's really, really, it's exactly this way. And I'm actually almost full every day because of this.
Because of this.
People not only, they really see that it's very easy to order a food and to open a bottle. There is this sound.
Yes.
This sound, it's like the magic sound for everyone that works in the wine, because we make the wine because we want people to open the bottle.
Of course.
Not to look at it, not to buy it and keep it there.
Exactly.
Okay. You can also do that. I will be happy. But you have to open the wine. And if you can communicate the wine and the food in a very simple way,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's done.
We were talking about this before we started recording, about how the approach to wine has to change. How we communicate wine. And what are you doing to sort of change that communication?
That has to change. I don't know. I think from my experience working in the restaurants, let's start, it was 2014, maybe. I don't remember the year. I bought, in Italy we call it gastronomia.
Okay.
So it's a place where I have good cheese, good food, very simple, probably to take away and enjoy at home, with about 1,000 different labels of wine. I bought the place with the co-owner that she's supposed to take care of the wine, and I was taking care of food. And then I realized I really like to study. I love studying. So I said, okay, I can't do my job knowing nothing about wine because, I'm from Syria. I'm from a Muslim family, so we don't drink wine. I don't have that culture, in my past. So I started studying the wine. I did the course with the FIS, Fondazione Italiana Sommelier.
Okay.
First, second, the third degree, and I finished the whole thing. And then I realized that there is something wrong. So the sommelier should describe the wine.
Okay.
The sommelier should never talk about good, bad, because it's not his job.
Of course.
Any sommelier, when you get to the course of any sommelier course, said, okay, the sommelier, it's that figure that should learn the correct words to describe the wine.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. Then they start teaching you, okay, that is 1 to 5, then this is the point. I said, okay, sorry, but if I'm not supposed to judge the wine, why giving them points?
Okay.
Because it's actually, said, no, but it works like this, but it actually works like this everywhere in the world, So I said, okay, in Italy, drinking wine is something very traditional. Very traditional. Like people drinks wine just from, I don't know. And the wine,
2 years old. Yeah, you start drinking wine.
My friend in Umbria, he drinks the wine, and the wine that his grandfather make, it's really bad, like really terrible bad. But he loves it because it's part of the tradition.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that we have to drink terrible wine, but I say we have to get it easy talking about wine.
Exactly.
If the person is interested in getting more into the description, it's good to do it, but it's not necessary all the time. The terms that we use, like in Italy, if the wine has acidity, it's fresco. Fresco is fresh.
Fresh, yes.
But why saying fresh if it's acid? Because they think that, acidity, it's something bad, so freshness, it's better. But the normal people, they don't know that freshness means acidity.
Okay.
So it's, I think, stupid. So either you just teach all the people that acidity and freshness are the same. Otherwise, you have to change your vocabulary.
Yeah, the way you communicate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, one of the things that I've always noticed that, and this is my personal voyage through the world of wine, but I feel like most people who sort of move through that, and maybe this is true for you as well, we tend to start liking wines that have less acidity, maybe a little sweeter. And then as we move up sort of the pyramid, we tend to seek out wines that have more acidity. So I think there's a little bit of fear to talk to people about acidity if you're not sure where they are on that pyramid yet. So if you say, oh, this one is acid, and you're like, oh, I don't like this because everybody thinks acid is lemon, right? And it's really, it makes you pucker, and it's harsh Riesling.
I thought about this many days.
Okay.
Because, for example, when you talk about wine and food pairing, there are few rules, but they're not actually rules because it depends from people to another. But anyway, normally you do this. You take a bite of what you want to eat. You just keep chewing on. It's very disgusting, but you have to chew and chew on and chew on and chew on. It's become kind of a blob, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
Then if you drink a good sip of wine and just swallow the whole thing, the mouth should be clean.
Okay.
That's mean the wine and the food are perfect together. So one is canceling the other, and one is, how do you say, going perfectly with the other.
Okay.
Nothing stays. And the result is, we finished the bottle and we didn't even realize that the bottle is done.
Okay.
But what if I'm I have enough expertise to enjoy some characteristic of the wine. For example, acidity, it's tannino. I'll talk about the tannino. So
Okay.
it's something that we know. It's
Yeah.
okay, especially with red
Mouth
wines.
drying. Yes.
With the experience, you know that with red wine, you can make something great with the tannino. It could be wonderful, and it could stay in the mouth for a long time, and you will enjoy it. Okay. There, you start searching for wines that they have more and more of this thing. That it's far from the equilibrium that we had before. So you don't want the wine that it's smooth, it's perfect, that goes down and nothing stains the mouth, but you start searching for extremes.
Okay.
Acidity, tannic, saltiness. That's I think the last step, because it's difficult to realize when the wine is salty.
It's salty, yeah.
I think it's quite difficult.
That's expert level, yeah.
Exactly, and it's normal. It's up, and that's another thing. I think pairing the wine, sometimes it's forcing the wine, because some kind of wine, they're just lovely this way by themselves. You can't ruining them with anything else,
Right. This is interesting. I'm always looking for something that the pairing is perfect for me when, as we say in English, the result is greater than the sum of its parts. So you have a bite of food that's really good, and you have a wine that's really good. But then when you put them together, it creates something that alone they don't have, And I think that's what we're always, and that happens, and it's rare. It's rare. It does happen, but there are those moments when you just go, whoa, that is amazing. The first thing that comes to mind for me is oysters and muscadet.
Okay.
Like, I have never found another wine that goes as well with oysters than muscadet.
I'm glad you didn't say Austria and Champagne.
No,
I'm really glad.
And I've tried it, and everybody says, "Oh, but no, I would rather have Pinot Grigio with oysters than Champagne." But there's that moment when you sort of all of those elements come together. And I love oysters. I'm not a huge fan of muscadet. It's great. It's a nice fresh, but put that wine with oysters and everything is much better. The wine is better. The oysters are better. So it's interesting you're saying that a lot of times what we're searching for is sort of this sort of lack of explosion in the mouth. We're going to say, okay, I'm going to eat this piece of food, and then I'm going to drink some wine. It's going to clear my palate, which in some cases is valid if you have something that's very creamy or very rich. But what I'm looking for is more sort of this kind of combination that shows up something.
I will give you an example.
Give me an example.
Have you ever made a mayonnaise at home?
No.
Okay, to make a mayonnaise, you take an egg yolk and start whisking it, and then you slowly add some fat, so oil or whatever, just liquid fat, and it will start, how do you say, it's
emulsifying, right? It becomes white, yeah.
It reaches the good consistency, you add some salt, and then you try it. And it's terrible.
Really?
Terrible. Then you add a few drops of vinegar, and it becomes the best sauce that the man ever created. Okay.
Wow.
Adding a few drops of vinegar. Okay. A mayonnaise without vinegar, it's something disgusting.
I'm going to try it.
You just try it. Please try it at home.
I'm gonna.
And there you understand, for example, in this dish, how acidity is important. So when you talk, for example, wine pairing, if you take a risotto that it's normally it's basic.
Okay,
because rice is basic. For example, with my risotto, I add a few drops of acidity. Okay, but tonight you will come to a restaurant. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay,
and you try the risotto, and then try a risotto with some acid wine, not fresh wine, even if it's the same thing.
Even if it's the same thing,
and it works exactly like the lemon or the acidity and the mayonnaise. So that's where pairing, it gets very good.
Exactly.
But it's difficult because wine, it's not acidity. It's acidity, saltiness, intensity, perfumes. Have you ever tried to drink a wine with your nose closed?
Yeah, if you've ever had a cold, that's what happens. Yeah, the wine is a completely different experience.
Like nothing, So, it's a bit complicated, but it's nice trying to figure out, because this way you open more you try more different bottles of wine, you open more bottles, and you're more happy because we forget something very important about the wine, the alcohol.
Right.
Okay, so that's slight happiness that, when you drink a little bit of wine and you get a little bit high.
Of course.
I think it's something, it's a gift from the God.
I think so too. I think so.
After a long day, trying just a couple, not too much, because drinking too much, it's not good for the health. I like sport. It's not, don't drink too much. But if you drink good glass of wine that makes you happy because it tastes good and give you that, little bit high, that it's perfect gift for the end of the day.
Well, have you read the book that's called Drunk?
No.
Have you read that book?
No, not yet.
So this book was written by I think he's a sociologist, and he talks about the history of alcohol with human beings and why this substance has persisted, or even if it's not the best thing for us to put into our body. And one of the most revelatory things that he talked about in there was the effect that wine has on our brain is to shut down the frontal cortex, which turns us into children. Because when we are children, we tend to use, our brain scans the entire depth of but as we get older, these sort of shortcuts are created in the frontal cortex, especially when we talk about language. That's why when you're learning a language, you always speak it better when you've had a couple of glasses of wine. So I'm sure you're Italian when you came here, just like me. After you've had a couple of glasses of Suave or whatever it is, all of a sudden your Italian starts coming much more easily.
No, when I first came to Italy, I was in Perugia, and there a friend of mine said, "Okay, I want you to try the best wine we make in Perugia. It's a Sagrantino di Montefalco."
Okay.
It's one of the most tannic wines.
I was going to say, talk about tannins, yeah.
And I really hated that. I said, how it's really bad. It's just like chewing on oak. It's terrible. I hate it. I don't like it. I'm not going to drink wine anymore.
I'm not going to drink wine
because
anymore.
Because if you try it for the first, it's really extreme.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Try to give a glass of Pignolo, or Tazzalenghe maybe, or Pignolo. I don't know who's more tannic, maybe Pignolo.
Pignolo, probably.
To a man or woman that never tried wine in their life, they would hate it.
Of course.
How could you drink this?
Exactly.
But trying more and more and more wine, it's normal to search for the extreme. It's absolutely normal.
Exactly. And so,
I know you didn't like it.
And you didn't like it.
I drank a lot of beer.
You drank a lot of beer.
Oh yeah, at that time. But now I love wine.
But would you drink a Sagrantino now?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you, the way you present the wine in your restaurant is not your typical wine list.
No, because that's it. So if I give a wine list to anyone, okay. So let's say the first question I asked myself was, who gonna be my clients? I said, okay, people, they want to discover the region, because we live in a touristic area outside of the city. There are, I think, 320 people in my town. So
okay,
I didn't consider them as, clients.
Clients,
because, there are not too many people. Said, okay, they will search for, so I suppose they know few wineries, but not all of them. So, I thought that time it was not very interesting to put just the classic wine card with the wines from the north to the south, starting with the whites, getting to the reds. Okay,
right.
So the choice can be made with three different modes. I'm sorry, four. The first one, okay. If you open a dish, the wine producers, they suggested few of their wines for that specific dish.
Okay.
That's first.
So you ask the producer to choose a dish. Okay.
So I ask them, if they come to your place and they ask you, what should I eat with your wine? And they just put down all of the dishes. I gave them a very big list.
Okay.
And,
Also, it's like a checklist.
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting.
Absolutely. After that, you just have the winery's name, you have all the grape variety, and you have the distance from where we are. Okay, after that, if you just scroll down, it's electronic card.
Okay.
When you scroll down, you see the wine randomly. Okay, completely randomly, with no, absolutely no rule. The thing is, I said, okay, if people want to try something to eat and they don't know, they can ask a bite of it.
Mm-hmm.
For the wine, it's difficult to open every single bottle by class.
Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
so we try to create a language that's quite simple and teach the people how to read it. So how to imagine the wine before trying it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, very simple, using very simple words. Okay, before adopting this method, people were more into like famous wineries.
Okay.
Our wines, because you get to our place, so you drink our wine. It's almost natural.
Right.
Then maybe famous wineries. Now people, they take absolutely random wines, really, really. So there are more wineries that I've noticed that maybe in the newspaper they talk about winery. So in the next 2-3 weeks we're selling more of that wine. That's is normal. But now the people approach the wine in a different way.
So, but you still have the name of the winery there, or do you keep that hidden?
Absolutely.
But because you've just sort of randomly...
Exactly.
So they can't sort of like go and say, okay, I want to look for this winery.
Exactly.
They have to sort of sort through
Exactly.
a bunch of random wines, and then something catches their eye.
So it's a way to, it's a way to ask you a few questions and reach the wine that you would like to. Okay.
Do you have more people who order wine off the list, or do you have more people who sort of come to you and ask?
In my case, since we have our wines, the people that they don't know, they go directly for our wine.
Okay. Your house wine. The wine that you produce.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you give the card, normally they go and pick up a wine from the card. There's no problem. Sometimes they could ask you, is this or that is better?
Okay.
They never asked, how is this wine? Because it's written down, how is it?
So, so they're literally asking, is this one better than that one?
That's good. Because
how do you respond to that?
That's very, very complicated because, I told you I'm a sommelier, and the Greta, she works there, she's sommelier. And we never say it's better or worse, because worse and better is your kids. Can they be worse and better? No, they're different.
Of course.
And the wine, they're all different. If a wine is too acid, it could be perfect with, I don't know, with a pork fat, instead of
perfect
a lemon.
For me.
No,
and not for you.
They're all different. So what we do at that point is just to try to describe a bit more the wines and wait for them to choose. The last thing, it's very important, the price at that point, it's matter.
Of course.
We can't all, choose the same wine. It's normal that people could afford maybe more expensive wines. But I think, the difference, you mentioned Muscadet before. I think in Italy, if you spend €30, it's absolutely guaranteed that you will drink good wine.
Yeah.
In France, I'm not sure.
That's always what I've said.
Okay.
I've always said that. Inside of a certain price range, that's a little bit, let's say a little bit lower, you're going to find a lot more really, really good wine in Italy. Whereas in France, once you get to like the sort of the top, that upper 1%, you can't beat France.
No,
the greatest champagnes, the greatest Burgundies, the greatest Bordeaux's, they're always going to be up there. And there are a couple of Italians that reach those heights as well. But once you drop down below that into sort of a more, realistic price range,
absolutely,
you're doing much better in Italy.
Absolutely. It's more popular. Like in France, they say, that my teacher said that French wine, I like pyramid. It's like bad wines are too many and good wines are too few, and they are really unreachable.
Okay.
Italian wine are like amphora. Amphora, how to say it? It's the amphora. So it's like
small on the bottom.
Few wines in the bottle that are not good. Very fat in the middle. So with a lot of interesting wine and few back again on the top.
Okay. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
And in my place, I really want people to open the bottles.
Okay.
And it's also a strain that for example, in the restaurant, we serve only Collio wines. Okay.
In fact, I wanted to ask you about that.
Only exclusively Collio wines.
Why did you make that choice?
It's a filter. It's just a filter. Because I think when I want to ask people, why do you want to go to Ronchi Rò? The answer is very simple. if you want Collio wines, you go to Ronchi. It's super simple. If I start collecting some Collio and some Collio Orientali, that means I'm putting something of myself. I'm choosing, and I don't want to choose. I want to collect.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't want to choose.
No.
You want to collect.
I'm not. I hate judging.
So that one, but not that one.
I take all.
Okay.
And it's you that you decide if you like it or if you don't like it.
Okay.
You know?
So how do you choose the Collio wineries?
I just call them if you want, and you want to be part of our project. You just let me know. I buy 3 bottles of each label you have, and you're in. You come there.
3 bottles.
Exactly. 3 bottles.
Wow.
Because unfortunately, the place is not very. We have
Okay.
only 12. You have 6 tables for 2 people each, so 12 people maximum.
Okay.
In the
It's a small
summertime,
restaurant.
it gets to 20. In summertime,
Because you have some outside seating.
yes.
Yeah.
But I don't have like very big celery to take all these
Of
wines.
course.
You know? So we take 3 labels of 3 bottles of
So
each
it's the
label.
producer who's deciding if they want to come to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I pay in how to say, in anticipo.
Okay. Well, you pay upfront. You pay.
Exactly. So they have absolutely nothing to complain about.
Yep. No worries that they're never going to get paid.
And to sell the wine, I will never start selling them before that you come there, you make the interview, you take the picture, you describe the wine, and you decide what wine goes with what food.
Wow.
When you do all this, you're welcome, your wine is welcome. Your website is welcome on our website. All the informations for the people are freely available.
So how many wineries do you have on your list right now?
Actually, now I think there are 27.
Okay.
With
a good selection.
With the whole production.
So all of the wines they make.
All of their wines.
So 27 wineries with every wine that they make.
Exactly.
Wow. That's a pretty good selection.
Oh, it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
For a small restaurant, it's not bad at all.
And what about the wines that you produce? So you only have 1.5 hectares.
We have 1.5 hectares. The variety are Friulano and Sauvignon.
Okay. So only whites?
Only whites. I don't know if you know, but every winery in Collio can also buy grapes.
Okay.
But they can buy maximum 49% of what they already produced.
Right.
Okay? Because the grape should come from the same area.
Okay.
So, for example, we make 1,000 bottles. We can buy red grapes to make 499 bottles.
Okay.
But the grape should come from the Collio. So we make Merlot, buying the grapes from our neighbor, and we make Friulano and Sauvignon. So there are 3 labels. Then 2021, we tried for the first time to make something called Collio Bianco. So that means it's putting both white variety together, fermentation. And it was great. I really loved it. When we made that wine with Alberto Faggiani. And I asked them only one thing, please don't, because acidity, it's very, very important in the wine. Okay? Very
I agree.
Important. I call it the spine of the wine.
Of course.
Okay? With no acidity, the wine will just collapse. The acidity could be too much when the wine is young, and it gets better with the year. When you drink a bottle of wine and it has no acidity, that means it's dying or it's already dead.
Okay.
There is absolutely no other explanation.
Right.
So I asked him, please give me a wine that it gets better in at least 10 years. So 10 years for white wine. So, okay, maybe we should use some oak or wood. I said, no wood, because, for example, I don't like the wood with the white wine.
Neither
because
do I.
White wine, they're fresh, they're fruity, and they get heavy when it's my point of view. You know? I was clear about this. There's no right, there is no wrong. They're just points of view.
Yeah, opinions. Yeah.
So my point of view for the white wine, I do prefer white wine with no oak.
Okay.
So we made this wine, and since we wanted to be wine that ages well, we call it Buon Frutto in Friulano. It's called Good Baby.
Good baby. Yeah. Good boy. Good girl. Yeah.
Hoping that it's gonna be a good boy. And since 2021, we decided to make only that wine. So we make Collio Bianco and the Merlot.
That's it.
We made the 21, we made it the 22, And then the 23, we didn't make the wine because we had the hail.
Oh.
And the quality of the grape, we didn't like it because, you can make the wine in the winery and you can make the wine in the wine field. I do prefer work the wine in the field, not in the winery.
Okay.
So if you get with the grape already damaged to the winery, it has no sense. We have only 1.5 hectares. It has no sense to ruin the reputation doing, I don't know,
crazy things.
We didn't make the wine 2023 because we had the sickness. Hopefully, 24 we didn't make the wine.
Okay.
Hopefully this year.
Peronospora?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it was raining too much. And for example, the treatment, we're completely organic.
Okay.
So we treat with sulfur.
Sulfur, yeah.
And
nothing else?
Okay. Rame, copper.
Yep.
Okay. Only these two things.
Copper sulfate.
And I do it on my back.
You do it yourself.
I'm not kidding. People think I'm crazy, but
and you're out there pumping away.
We have a machine. With
you don't have to pump that. Well, at least that.
Exactly. So you see me walking around, and if you look on our reviews, one of them were complaining about the noises in the winery because I was there doing the treatment, and we're eating there, and there were that noise, and because Collio, the wine, you can make it only if it's in the hill.
Can't make it in the flat. Yeah.
And in the hills, if you work with the machine too much, sometimes the terrain could be compressed and it's not very good. So we do it by hand. And doing this way, if there is any problem, you can go into the wine, even if it's raining.
Of course.
Because, the tractors, they can't go there if it's raining. The terrain is too muddy.
But yeah, exactly.
Okay?
Too soft.
I can get there whenever I want, So we just do it by hand, So yeah, I've told you, crazy, lunatic.
Exactly.
Because lunatico in Italian is when you change your mind, depends on the mood.
Exactly. Yeah. Lunatico is when you change easily from one. You go from one extreme to another.
Lunatic.
Lunatic means crazy.
No.
That guy's a lunatic.
Okay.
Yeah. So, exactly. And so, what's the future? What's going on? Is there new plans, new vineyards, something?
No. Let's see.
More tables.
Your dear president, what he gonna do with the taxes? What do you call it, with the duty?
Yeah, tariffs.
That's a big problem for Italy if it will happen, because many wine producers, they sell wine to the States.
Of course.
So let's see what will happen. But no, not making more wine. I think it's worth it to work with the wine communication. So give the possibility to people to approach the wine in a very, very easy way. So what we're doing now, we will start with a small shop. So if you have, for example, a place where you serve food, you can go on Cerchio Rosso, and we could help you finding the right wines for your shop and helping you giving a menu. It's very, 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 not menu like, a software with a menu that helps you pairing the food with the wine with the food. For example, if you're a shop.
So this is a service that you are offering.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So you just tell me what food you make. I tell you what wine could go with it. You're free to buy whatever you want. And then when you buy the wine, you have the front end, so the app, the web app, whatever, with the information that I think they're important to understand the wine. So like this, I think it would be very easy to people to choose the right wine and not getting afraid anymore of buying wine. Because believe me, it's something strange when I make people try the wine. I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't nothing about it. It's stupid.
Right.
Stupid. If you're a producer of anything, it's stupid to imagine that your customers are afraid or they're not sure if they're enjoying your product.
Right.
It's not made to be this way.
Exactly.
And by the way, when they make you try the wine, you should say it smells, it's cork smell or no cork smell, nothing else.
Exactly.
So that's to help people. So when they make you try the wine, you have to say yes with corks to change the bottle, no cork, we can drink
Exactly.
So that's also something that drives me crazy. So why keep doing something in every single restaurant when the people don't know why the sommelier is doing this?
Right.
It has no sense.
Yep.
No? Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, working as a sommelier, you do the presentation of the cork, and people, they pick the cork up and they go, "Oh, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with this, but maybe I'm supposed to smell it. Okay, smells like a cork."
Do you remember when once there were like kind of a capsule that smells like lemon when the waiter used to pour hot water in it and it just started blowing, and then you use it to clean your hands? I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yes, yes.
Can you describe it better than me? Because it was just kind of a capsule, white capsule. With hot water, it became a napkin.
Exactly.
I do remember that people tried to eat it. And
No.
it's not their fault.
Because nobody's telling them what that is.
If you don't tell people what they're supposed to do with it,
Right.
you can't complain if they're eating it. It's you that you need to learn how to communicate. Otherwise, it's stupid.
That happened with me with truffles one time.
You're just.
Well, the one story I heard that just didn't happen to me, that the woman took the truffle and she was going to like bite it in half, like a grape, right? And everybody was like, no. What happened to me was, when I worked at Babbo, when you ordered the truffle dinner, everyone at the table had to get it. So to mark the table, they had this beautiful sterling silver pedestal thing with rice, dry rice, and then the black truffles on top to sort of mark the table. And so this guy convinced the table to get the truffle dinner. We marked the table for the truffle dinner with the truffles in the center of the thing. 30 seconds later, the woman calls me over. "Excuse me." "Yeah. Can you please take this off the table? They stink." And I was like, "I'm happy to take this away from you, ma'am, but you're about to have 6 courses of that." And she just looked at me like, "No." Yeah. So we took it off the table, but yeah, she ate 6 courses of truffles, which for her stunk. But anyway, yeah. So people don't know what to do.
Exactly.
So anyway, listen, I cannot wait to come and have dinner with you tonight. I'm just going to let you know right now, I am in your hands.
Okay.
I am in your hands. I'm not going to pick a wine. I'm not going to choose the food. I'm going to let you take me on your journey tonight.
I would try to make you taste what Collio offers.
Perfect.
Okay, that's very simple. It's not a test. It's not an exam. It's just to come and enjoy what you have.
I can't wait.
The expectation is something really crazy, and we have to do something about this for the future. Because how many times you try wine and then after 4 years, you can't wait to drink it again. You drink it and you're disappointed.
Yes.
It happens all the time. It's not because of the wine, it's because of you. Because you were working too much with your brain, imagining things that they're probably not real.
Yes.
So just go and enjoy what we have.
I think there's a saying that they say, expectation is the killer of joy.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm coming in with no expectations tonight, and we'll be in your hands.
Good.
Anyway,
thank you. Love it.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Thank you
for dedicating so much time. It really has been a pleasure.
I don't know how it's just lovely. It just flows.
Exactly.
It's lovely, lovely.
Every guest I have says the same thing. Oh, we have to talk for an hour? An hour? And then all of a sudden we're in an hour and 17 minutes. And it's like, wow, that was like nothing.
Lovely.
So, no, really a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for inviting me. So we'll see you at the restaurant in a little while.
See you later.
All right. Thank you. Hey, thank you for listening here at La Taverna. Make sure you follow us on all the socials, La Taverna Podcast on Instagram, La Taverna Friuli on Facebook. And if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it'd be great if you'd leave us a nice 5-star rating. See you next week.